Sanchez this morning. Brian is a personal trainer at the Fitness for 10 in Carson City. If you guys want to meet him, I highly recommend you go down and say hi to him, find out uh, what his schedule is, and just if you have any questions or you want to pick his brain, I'm sure he'll oblige you. So, welcome, Brian.
Hey, thanks for inviting me this morning, Steve. I'm looking forward to the discussions we're going to have today.
Yeah, and if you guys have comments or you want to argue with us, we welcome that. Just put that in the comment section. So let's talk about, and this is really interesting, common mistakes. I want you to name what you feel like three top mistakes that your beginning clients make. Someone who's coming in and maybe they've exercised a little before, but they haven't had a trainer. So I want to know three of the biggest mistakes that people are making with their fitness, wellness, exercise program. So what's number one?
My number one thing when I'm working with clients, especially when I first get introduced to them, is I get into discussions with them on their eating. The reason we do that is because as trainers, as you know, Steve, we want to make sure that calorically when they come into the gym, their body's prepared more than a day in advance to take on the workouts that we're doing, regardless if it's a beginning workout or if it's a intermediate workout or an advanced workout. They need enough fuel in their gas tank to keep moving forward or they're going to be out of gas. And that's when the blood pressure changes. They start to get dizzy, their heart rate's going up, and they can actually pass out sometimes. So what I mean by that is, I think, like we're in our 50s, right? So a lot of our generation or older was taught eat just a little bit to stay healthy, which now we understand is absolutely crazy. Unless you're working with a doctor and they want you on a 1200 calorie or below diet, that might be for a very different medical reason. But for us, for our regular clients that are trying to get healthy, trying to stay going forward, trying to make their lives a little bit better, these people that are dropping their caloric values under 1500, it's a bad decision in my eyes. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you as a coach and as a professional trainer that you need to keep those levels up. And what we find is that they stymie their weight loss. They stymie their muscular gains. They stymie their physical change, the recomposition of their body, because their body's hanging on to every ounce of fat it can because they're in such a deficit when they exercise. An example of that is if I'm working with you and you're my coach, Steve, and I come in and we work out for an hour and I burn 360 calories, my body cools down. Now I'm down to about a 450 calorie day and I'm on a 1500 calorie diet. I'm trying to operate on 1,000 calories. The body's not going to do anything. It's going to hold on to everything, and I'm going into an absolute plateau. An example of this is I just had a client who I said, give me 3 weeks. She was plateaued in her fat loss. We put her from a 1,500 calorie diet. I pleaded with her. I said, go over 2,000. She went over 2,000, and the first time in a year, we had a 3% body fat loss, which is great for a lady in a matter of 3 weeks because we actually increased her intake of calories so that her body could perform. She could make it through her workouts. She had enough in her system. We were doing pretty advanced workouts, but she was burning efficiently. That's my number one thing.
Hey,
Don't listen to the eat a little bit. Go ahead, Steve.
let me just ask, how old was this woman?
She was in her 30s. She was in
Okay.
her 30s and she was trying to survive on 13 to 1,500 calories. And I get in some pretty interesting discussions with clients on this because they believe they have to diet to lose weight. What they have to change that myth is a diet in the sense of calorie reduction is one thing. They have to maintain a proper diet or an eating program when we use that four-letter word diet. It does not mean reduce all the calories out of your daily intake. It means eat properly. That's what we have to change, and that's my number one thing.
Yep. Yep. You're right.
And
I mean, I could go on and on and on with that, but what's number two?
hey, I would go with no workout plan. I know we've all been in this gym, even as us coming in and doing our own workouts, when we've walked in and we don't have a prepared workout. And we look around, we go, okay, what am I going to do today? And what machine am I going to use? And there's three people in line ahead of us. So we wait. if you have a workout plan with optional exercises, let's use me for an example. I go into a split workout system. I come in and do chest day. I want to do bench press. I want to do a fly, and I want to do a dumbbell overhead pull. If I decide to do that and I have some secondary exercises, if the benches are filled up, well, then I'm going to go to a dumbbell alternating workout. If my flies aren't going to go well, then I'm going to run over to the pec deck. So I have options. So I maintain efficiency in my workout. I know what I'm doing, and I'm not wandering around the gym waiting. And I'm not sitting having coffee with the crew in between sets, waiting for machines to occur. I understand in my plan what I'm supposed to work, what muscle groups I can hit, and I use the plan to adjust on the fly. When somebody's on something I want to do, I go to a different chest exercise. I don't just wait and waste my time. That's another big plan. So what we can do is we can show people that you can get a good workout in 45 minutes every time if you have a plan. My rule with clients is never walk into the gym without a plan. And if they're not going to write it, I will.
That's great. Okay, number 3.
Hey, another little area that clients, and I'll use an example of a client that I brought in here recently, where they wanted to lose weight. So they went online and they looked at different kinds of workout programs, and they bought an application, and they spent whatever the application price is. And you can get these apps anywhere for, a few dollars a month to quite a few dollars a month, or you can pay, $60 for the year. That's great. There's nothing wrong with the workout. But the product they purchased and the workout that they bought was more for somebody that was trying to volumize the muscle, to gain size, more of a hypertrophy style of system. So they didn't really understand that repetitions and sets meant something. So it's the lack of understanding there that if you want to lean out the muscles, you can't be doing, 3 to 5 sets of 8 repetitions or 10 repetitions in a moderate weight. That's not necessarily going to lean you out. Maybe in the long term, if you build a lot of muscle, but that's going to take years. We want you into a high volume workout. We want to drop your weights down. We want to put you into 15 to 20 reps per exercise, or maybe time you 30 to 40 minutes with 20 to 15 to 20-second breaks in between, where you volumize, or you change from the volume and you go into the repetition to lean the muscle up. A little rule of thumb that I like to use, 0 to 8, you're going to maximize strength. That's what I do for your repetition, and do whatever the sets are for that day. Repetition wise, if I want to volumize the muscle and I want to get huge, if you will, I'm getting ready for a speedo contest and we're going to take some photos. Maybe I'm going to go into a hypertrophy workout. I'm going to be working in that 8 to 12 zone repetition with moderate weights. So they're going to push me to where I just get exhausted at the end of my workouts or my end of my sets. Or if I want to lean out, I'm going to push 15 plus and go more repetitions with lots of sets. And I'm going to go into a circuiting system to keep my heart rate up. It's very, very important to understand why you're choosing that workout. And what's good here is, people like to say, Brian, what's your specialty? Well, when you bring in these clients and you work with them and you interview them and you talk to them, pretty soon they realize that they're the specialty, that we understand enough as a trainer to create a system that's going to work for their body. And so these hypertrophy and maximal and power workouts aren't their system. We specialize them in creating their world. We specialize a program for the individual, and we lean them out, and we go into high repetition. So not understanding repetitions and sets is a really big issue for people in gyms. They can get frustrated, they plateau. You don't have to even sign up with this. As you know, here at Fitness for 10, you ask us, we'll show you. It doesn't cost you anything.
That's great. Thanks for your time, Brian. If you guys have questions for Brian, you want to meet him, go down to Fitness for 10 on Fairview in Carson City and say hi. Thanks for being with us, Brian.
All right, take care, Steve. Bye, everybody.